payments are coming up because you got 30 days before your first payment's coming up.
Yeah.
What did you do? How did you hire your first driver? What happened?
I went out on tour with, actually this is a pretty good story. Dave Ellefson from Megadeth hired me through an old drum teacher of mine. They kind of asked if I was a tour manager. I was a sound guy, right? And they asked if I was a tour manager, and I lied. I'm sorry, Dave.
What's up, everybody? Andrew Steele here. It's a beautiful day here in Santan Valley, Arizona. I'm hanging out with the famous Kyle.
Hey, everybody.
We're here at Border Coach Leasing, and a lot of you saw the previous video titled Bought a Prevost bus when he was 19 years old, and it got a lot of positive response. A lot of you had questions, and I'm going to ask those questions to Kyle in today's video about how he got his whole start owning tour buses back when he was 19 years old. But before we jump into today's video, I got to show you guys, check out this swag that I'm wearing. This is probably the most comfortable sweatshirt I've ever worn. Kyle also has some t-shirts, license plate frames, some really cool stuff on his online store. Make sure to check that out. I'll leave a description in the link below. And you can get some of this cool Border Coach Leasing swag. And keep in mind, if you own a Prevost as well and want to have service work done, he's the guy to see. I highly recommend him. Kyle, you've been doing this since you were 19 years old, and when I released that video, we got more feedback than most videos.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
A lot of people want to know more about your story. So going back to when you were 19 years old, we're chasing vans. What caused you to start admiring the Prevost buses?
Well, I flew out to, actually, we got online, a friend of mine, and we were searching for buses and actually found some buses. I forget which site it was, maybe Bus for Sale or Staley or one of those. I think maybe we came across and ended up getting a bus from Four Seasons Coach Leasing out in Nashville, and basically flew out there, got picked up at the airport in the bus, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I didn't really know anything about buses, and then ended up getting insurance on it, and I was like, well, how am I going to get this thing back? I don't know any drivers, right? And then they recommended somebody.
Because it was commercial and you weren't able to buy it?
Yeah, exactly. It was commercial, and I had to have commercial insurance on it. And so basically I'm sitting in Nashville with a bus needing to come back to Phoenix, but I didn't think about that part, right? Whoever was selling it picked me up in the bus. We drove back to their office, kind of went through the deal, ended up working out the deal. They got paid the money from the bank, and then they said, all right, well, you're free to take the bus. And I was like, well, I didn't think about that portion.
A lot of people know, you mentioned in the first video that your dad helped you co-sign.
Yeah.
So huge thanks to Kyle's dad for helping
Thanks,
him
Dad.
getting on this journey. Awesome dude, and really, really awesome that he helped you with that. So can I ask, do you remember what you paid for that first bus?
It was $145,000.
And can I ask what you put down on it?
Zero.
Really?
Yes.
Because that was back when
It was
everything...
2000, what was it, 2005 or 6? And it was basically stated income, and they didn't really seem to care at the bank, and it was zero money down. It was crazy, the craziest thing. Yeah.
So I don't think that if you want to go buy a Prevost for zero down, I think things have changed.
Things have changed,
So,
yeah, here in 2020s almost.
another big thanks to all the banks for being so loose with their lending practices to help get Kyle going.
No,
So-
it's true, because if they wouldn't have been super easy there, obviously my dad's co-signing helped the situation, but the fact that we didn't have to put any money down, if I would have gone to my dad and said, hey, I need $50,000 and a co-sign, maybe he wouldn't have done it, or if the bank would have said there's no way in hell we're going to give a guy 19 a loan on this, even with a co-sign, then I wouldn't have done it, and then I would have nothing, right?
Unbelievable. That's hats off to them for lending a 19-year-old. I don't know. I don't know too many 19-year-olds that would have been able to pull that off and turn it around. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So remember what your payment was? So you put zero down on a $150,000 bus, and you don't even have a commercial license. So you need a commercial license to drive it. What was your payment on the bus?
I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was like $2,500 a month.
Okay.
Yeah, it was either $2,500 or $3,500 at the time. I know it was a lot of money for 19, and you have to come up with that kind of money to get the thing down the road, plus insurance, plus maintenance, which at the time I knew nothing about. I didn't think that it was going to cost any money on maintenance, just some tires, right? And the engine should just run. But yeah, that's not the case.
So how did you hire your first driver? How did that happen?
Well, actually, I asked the company there, I said, do you know any drivers that'll bring this bus back? And they said, we actually know a guy out of Arizona that'll bring it back for you. All you have to do is fly him out, and then he can deliver it, and then it's a one-way flight, right?
Do you remember what you paid for that?
Oh, he ripped me out. I know exactly how much I paid for it. He charged me $4,500 to drive the bus from Nashville to Phoenix.
Wow.
And when I heard that, I was like, that seems like a ton of money just for a drive from there to here. But then I didn't know any better. So I said, well, I guess that's how much it costs, right?
Okay, so you pay this guy, you get your dad to co-sign, you put 0 down, now you're signing up for $3,500 a month. So
$4,500 to get it back here.
So 45,
I'm in the hole.
So you're 150K or so, 155K now into the game. Payments are coming up because you got 30 days before your first payment's coming up.
Yeah.
What did you do? How did you hire your first driver? What happened?
Well, I think he was either the first driver that did the tour, or I can't remember who it was, to be honest, but I went out on tour with, actually this is a pretty good story, Dave Ellefson from Megadeth hired me through an old drum teacher of mine.
Nice.
And they kind of asked if I was a tour manager. I was a sound guy, right? And they asked if I was a tour manager, and I lied. I'm sorry, Dave. Dave's a great guy. And I said, yeah, I've tour managed before, but I was 19. I don't think he knew I was 19. I think he thought I was older, and we ended up at, on tour in bars, and they would be asking for ID, and I'd be like, oh no, I'm with the band. So
Yeah.
I tried to avoid anyone ever asking me for my ID for like a wristband in the bar, right?
So you lied to Dave.
I lied to Dave Ellefson, who's still a great friend of mine, and I don't know if I ever admitted to him that I lied about touring or not. Or maybe he knew it, or maybe he didn't at the time. But
well, he can thank YouTube for getting the real
that's right.
story.
I'll forward him this video.
Awesome. So yeah, so you went on tour?
I went on
Megadeth?
tour. Yeah, no, it was Dave's side project band, which was called F5. At the time, he wasn't in Megadeth. He had taken a break from that, and we went out on tour with F5, and that was basically the first tour that I ever did.
Wow. So
as a 19-year-old sound guy, tour manager, I knew how to do sound, but I had no idea about touring, no idea about tour managing, and no idea about buses.
Yeah. Now, who drove the bus?
I can't remember who the driver was on that tour, but I ended up hiring. I don't think it was the same guy that brought the bus back from Nashville.
Do you remember how much you paid him for that first tour?
Oh, at that time, drivers were getting paid. It was $185 a day, I believe, without a trailer.
And do you remember?
No, it was. I think it was $150 without a trailer and $185 with the trailer at that time.
And do you remember what you were able to bill per day?
For the bus?
Yeah.
The bus actually, during that time, I think they were getting pretty good rates. I think the rates have actually gone down, which is crazy because the price of the buses and the maintenance has gone up. But
yeah,
the rates seem to either hold at the same as what they used to be. But I think it was like $450 or $475 at that time
for the bus.
Was the daily on the bus, plus services and all that stuff.
You made it through. How do you remember? Was it a 30-day tour? Or how long?
I think it was. I think it was 2 legs of the tour. So it was I think it was 30 days, and then we had a couple weeks off, and then another 2 or 3 weeks, I think it was.
You told them, oh yeah, I've done this before. Were there any moments on that first trip that got you a little bit nervous?
Yes, actually, we ended up in Waco, Texas, of all places, and the promoter didn't want to pay, didn't have the money, and basically, I don't know what was going on there, but he basically left, came back crying with his daughter in the car, begging for us to play the show because he had borrowed money from somebody and spent it, or whatever he ended up doing with the money. Is he needed us to play, and they held our gear hostage at the venue and wouldn't let us take the gear out of the venue and almost forced the band to play. So we had to call the police, and the police came, and we said, hey, they're holding our gear hostage. We're not playing the show, but we need to get our gear out and get loaded up.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, so then we got out of there safely, thankfully. I don't believe the band ended up getting paid, but we made it out of there safely.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So now, did you still get paid?
I believe, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Another crazy story on that same tour, and I don't even know why I decided that I wanted to keep touring after that.
Yeah.
Right. 5 Points in Denver, and we the bus was parked right outside of the venue, and then right next to it was kind of like another club, right? And all of a sudden, after the show, we're loading up the equipment into the bays of the buses. I don't know if we had a trailer then or not, but we're loading everything up. All of a sudden, we're walking on. Oh no! Everyone's walking on the bus, and myself and a buddy, Dave Smalls, actually, who was the drummer of the band and the guy that basically got me the gig on the F5 tour. We walked across the street to go get a burger, and all of a sudden people come flying out of the venue and start shooting every which way. And I'm standing at the burger joint right across the way with him, and we both look back at the bus and we said, if we don't, either we're gonna run towards the bus and maybe get shot, or we're gonna stand out here and definitely get shot. And right then a car comes, you know, roaring down the street and yells, "You guys better get out of here, otherwise you're gonna get killed out of here." And then gunmen just keep shooting. I think that night 2 people ended up dying, but thankfully we were able to jump in the bus, and the singer of the band, Dale, hops in, fires it up, and we just start driving. We're like, let's just get out of here. And we just start driving down the road, and we get to like a Denny's or something. We're all like freaked out because we just got shot at. And we get to the Denny's, and we watch on the news at the Denny's that there was a shooting that night. So
What was it? What caused the shooting? Do you know?
I think it was gang associated.
What kind of
It had nothing to do with the venue we were at. It was the venue next to where we were playing. It just happened to be late at night, like 12 or 1 o'clock, and the club was letting out, and that's when people started shooting.
Oh,
they weren't shooting at us, but it was in our direction, and yeah, it was scary. So between that and not getting paid in Waco and having to call the cops, you know,
Wow.
get the gear, like it just.
So you're
that was a learning experience.
So you're 19 years old, running around in a Prevost bus, not getting paid, getting shot at. Did you think you were going to be able to make a career out of this?
Well, no, I didn't. I should have given up. But it went back to, hey, my dad co-signed on a bus. I have $2,500 or $3,500 payment to make, and I got to make it happen.
But you made it successfully through that tour.
Yeah.
Did you make any money on your first run, on your first tour?
Oh, probably not. I mean, I probably made a little bit of money, but I probably ended up dumping it back in the bus to make sure that, you know, there wasn't any problems. Luckily, I made it through that tour, and the next tour, I remember with very minimal amount of expenses, just because I didn't know anything about preventative maintenance at the time.
Yeah.
But nothing broke down. We made it. Everything worked. So we were able to make it down the road.
And how long was it before you bought your second bus?
I think it was maybe 2 years later, maybe a year. I'd have to look at the dates, but I can't remember. This is so long ago.
Okay.
And then I kept getting phone calls, you know, as I started touring more and more and more. I that was the only way that I could build up my business, by going on the road and kind of being my own salesman.
Wow.
So then when I started telling people, no, I don't have a bus. No, I don't have a bus. I was like, well, maybe because originally I was only going to do 1 bus and just use it for the bands that I tour with. So basically it was gonna be a package deal, like tour manager, front of house, and a bus, right?
Yeah.
But then once the phone kept ringing, I was like, well, maybe this should be a business.
Yeah.
And then turned it into a business.
Dude, that is an
And
awesome
then got a
story.
second bus, and yeah, the rest is history at that point.
Man, that's a great story. Hey Kyle, huge thanks for sharing that story, man. Great story.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure. Huge thanks to all of you watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more cool content like this and meet more cool people like this. Greatly appreciate all of you. Hope you're all having a great day.